Okay, rule number one, if I'm looking like I'm having a hard time breathing, it's because I'm stuffed up because I'm sick. Rule number two is when I'm eating, I can't breathe out of my nose, so that I'm going to be a really hard amount of breathing out of my mouth, trying to get food in and not let it keel over and choke, which has happened numerous times over the past little while, so don't go assuming that I'm making that contorted schizophrenic face. Rule number three, I love Selena. There's nothing wrong with you not being schizophrenic or having stuff wrong with you. We're at different places in our journey, certain people. And certain people need to accept that. And certain people need to accept it no matter how hard they try. They're not going to catch up to me. And you know what, in the long run, you ask my sister, okay, there are ways that you can make narcissism appear out of nowhere. You could spoil people. See, malignant comments from malignant narcissists oftentimes carry a heavy price. Especially if they're false promises. See, the difference between me and, say, other people in this group, and Cheryl, you really need to hear this and absorb this, is this wasn't just about a suggestion planted in my subconscious. It wasn't about that at all, actually. It was about me doing the work and taking pride in something because I wanted to be a man that you could be proud of. And I liked you. Hell, I loved you. And I wanted it to work so bad. Because I felt out of my weight class, I felt inferior. And I know no other people look at me that way and other people look at me differently than I see myself. Or that I see the image that I portray to other people. But the difference is due to the fact that, I mean, your word carried a lot of sway with me. And it's been 10 years since we had that little conversation, that little 50-cent thing that you're doing. So you've got to come to the realization that people grow and things change. And my brain, through stimulation and things of that nature, has got into a fully functional knowing my likes and dislikes and everything else. You've got to be able to think 3 or 4 dimensionally. That perhaps what I said is accurate. Perhaps what I said about greatness and sundry other things is accurate as well. And I never thought I'd say this, but I appreciate a little better part of the past 10 years having people watch my back that I didn't think would ever be on that side of the fence. And you know, I look at people now and I look at the stupid little looks that they give their daughter and anything else, and the judgment that they had for me leaving that lady's house. And I give a fuck less. That was not a healthy situation for me to be in. And as we're still noticing, I'm still combating the negativity that was engaged in during my time there with this specific plan to once again set me on a different path and have me embrace this way of life. It doesn't work that way. Maybe it does, but it shouldn't. Thinking that I'm all about the aggression. But in point of fact, certain people have corrected their paradigm about me and had that change in assumption you to be not just convincing them, but showing them what's actually there as in factual, not fictional, as in real, as in not fake. As in, I'm sitting here talking to a phone camera again, coming to the realization that we're going to be having this conversation for the rest of my natural fucking life. Because that particular lady that was put in front of me about a week or two ago, 2 weeks ago now, was there to show me that, like she said, I don't belong indoors anymore, but that's vehemently false. I've proven that I can mix with both. I've also proven that it has to be the right situation and not a situation due to somebody else's diminutive, shitty fucking sense of humor. Did you hear that? I said diminutive, shitty sense of humor. So where does that leave us? That leaves us with either you help me again or deem me worthy of helping again or not. Or perhaps maybe I take off at the end of next month. But one thing is for certain, what happened in Rutland will never happen again, because if it ever does, the blame will go squarely on who it belongs to. And I'll keep pushing this until somebody does something about it. But keep in mind, cops are on here. If this whole thing gets inflamed, a lot of people will be answering serious charges. Like, you know, the beginning of time, the forefathers, everybody else knew this was going to be a problem. So they created the RCMP and the constabulary. These people have been enforcing the law for millions of years. There has never been slavery in Canada. There never will be slavery in Canada. The only thing that I don't agree with is after the whole Hat Squad thing in LA, he said there's no organized crime there anymore, which is a fat pile of horse shit. There's the Crips, the Bloods, the Samoans, and they're about as organized as anybody could ever be. And they don't give a fuck about cops, and they don't give a fuck about anybody but their bottom line, or somebody halting their bottom line, and that person will be dealt with swiftly. And without prejudice. So I'm sitting here realizing that I do have a few choices at my disposal. Depending on what happens next, somebody's saying the one that raised me could be classified as one person. And that would be Desiree, because she created and started all this from a puppy. And I'm talking about me being a puppy. And the one thing I don't like is her saying, I built you out of nothing, which is kind of false. There was a lot of potential there. It just had to be organized properly. Because as she said, we knew all about this the minute he showed up. And you did. You did. And you made the most of it. To the point of, baby, look at me now. Biggest question to you, though, is what's the future plan? Because we can continue talking like this. And, you know, I don't care if people judge me for leaving that bitch's house harshly or instantaneously like I did. Not healthy. And something that's going to be detrimental to me long term, I may as well go sleep under a rock. Because if it's detrimental to me mentally, then I'm going to take it out on somebody else. That's going to cause my reputation to take one more downward swing. And this is going to be the wrong place for me to hang my hat for any more than a minute, I'll tell you what. So like I said, I'm sitting here, I'm coming to a few realizations, trying to get all the sweat off me. It's kind of cool out today, not too bad. Coming to the realization that somebody just can't get a hold of you when they choose and say, I think you need to leave now. Doesn't work that way either. You're not my fucking travel agent. And how things went down when I left, and the very suspicious talk about stalking or anything else, which never actually occurred, but would get a guy in a lot of trouble where he labeled that kind of brother to the point that he would be ostracized by the general public and the people around him, not giving a fuck, being a psychopath yourself, you wouldn't hesitate to do that in a fucking minute. So the question then becomes, A, why should I trust you? B, somebody said a leap of faith, or is it just to get me to wait for one more day? As I sit here and dance to your tune until the music stops and I'm the one without a chair, unfortunately by that time it'll be too late and I'll be dead. But I'll be taking a few people down with me.